The cops stopped another attempt at revenge from an incel. Is this ever going to stop happening? Are we going to... How many Elliot Rodgers and Sung-Wee Cho's are we going to have to see? Alec Manassians, how many of those guys are we going to have to see before people start to wake up and realize that womanism is probably the cause? The panel discusses that next. The 7 starts right now. What's up, guys? It's your man Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the season finale of the 7. We're gonna cut the season a little bit short because, of course, this is the summertime, and this is when people generally tend to travel. 91 DVOC appears to be over, kind of. People are, you know, they want to travel, they want to get out, they want to see the world. So we're gonna cut this a little bit short, and then we'll pick this up probably sometime in the fall. But before we get started, let's go ahead and introduce tonight's, well, what's left of the esteemed panel. First up, the man on the west side, Coach Greg Adams. How you doing, man?
All good over here, man. Welcome to the show. Should be interesting.
Yeah, should be very, very interesting. Next up, the best dressed man in the 312, who probably looks like a made guy. He's Coach EO. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up? Good to be back with everybody. Interesting topic. So salute to everybody in the chat room.
Yeah, very interesting topic. I like that. I like that blue jacket, man. That blue jacket is definitely on point for sure.
Thank you.
Next up, the man from the dirty Dr. Book of Alpharonomy, Roll Tide. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Yeah, if you get your feelings easily hurt, just be strong tonight, man.
Tonight is not there. Listen, I'm telling you, tonight is not for the faint of hearts, gentlemen. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Last but certainly not least, the ordained minister of the streets. It's Minister Jack.
What's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on, Donovan. Let's cook.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tonight's topic is actually, it's I don't want to call it disturbing. We've been well aware of this stuff for quite some time. As I look for the screen share option that I have. Oh, yep, I got it. At any rate, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up an article here. Where's that article? There we go. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen. Hang on. I gotta switch tabs here. Give me a second, guys. There it is. Incel revenge, blah, 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 blah. Okay, there it is. Got it. Okay, perfect. So there was an article that came out on the Insider, and the title of that article is "Misogynist Incels Can't Be Ignored." Pardon me. They need mental health support before it's too late, says a criminologist. This article was actually written. It was written today. It was written. I don't know. I think it was like 2 o'clock this 2 o'clock this afternoon. It's a very, very short article, but we're going to go ahead and read it. So as you guys can see, this guy right here. This is a headshot of self-proclaimed incel Trace Ginko, 21 years old, arrested by the FBI after they uncovered his plan for a mass pew pew to, quote, take revenge on women. So the article, I'm going to quickly read through this. The article states, Trace Ginko, a 21-year-old from Ohio, charged in federal court this week, planned a mass sergeant slaughter of women at a sorority house out of hatred, jealousy, and revenge. Ginko is an incel. An incel is an involuntary celibate. It is a sexually inactive person, mostly men, who believes they are owed sex and have hatred toward women who do not give them that. Wow. So they're already off with the definition. In a document seized by police, Ginko described his world of loneliness, isolation, and anxiety, all painful parts of his life that can be managed and mended with the correct support. However, I'm going to call him Ginko's depression manifested into a planned red rum spree and charge of attempted hate crime and illegal possession of a pew pew arm. Incel culture mainly operates online in a dimension called the, quote, manosphere, where angry young men pour out vitriol against F-toys, which are women. Now, let me just quickly go around the panel, and now I'm 43. CGA, how old are you?
45.
Okay, 43, 45. BOA, how old are you?
45.
EO, how old are you?
41.
Jap, how old are you?
37.
There you go. None of us are young, so already they've yeah, angry. Yeah, okay, all right, got it. The Southern Poverty Law Center has described the incel manosphere, so you see how they're marrying the two words together, right, as a, quote, underworld of misogynists, woman haters whose fury goes well beyond the criticism of the family court system, domestic Duracell laws, and false EPAR accusations, who are devoted to attacking virtually all women, or at least westernized one. But these people need help, says Dr. Allison Margansky, a criminologist and sociologist at Lemoyne University, told Insider. Active support needs to be given before it's too late for these troubled men, as it was for Jinko. His, quote, manifesto against women was entitled Isolated. Jinko was inspired by Elliot Rodger, the misogyny killer who became the first hero of the incel movement. He killed 6 people and injured 14 before turning the gun on himself in a mass pew-pew outside of a sorority house at the University of UC Santa Barbara back in 2014. Before the killing, Rodger emailed a manifesto to family and close confidants, including his therapist. In a video he uploaded to YouTube, he said, quote, I don't know why you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all for it. It's an injustice, a crime, because I don't know what you don't see in me. I'm the perfect guy, and yet you throw yourselves at these obnoxious men instead of me, the supreme gentleman. The obnoxious men, this guy. It's clear from the police reports that Jinko, like Rodger, see, they always say Rodgers, it's Rodger. Talk about Aaron Rodgers, was unhappy and lonely. His, quote, manifesto against women was entitled Isolated. He described himself as deluded and red rum and signed the document, your hopeful friend and red rummer. The Red Pill Reddit channel is an offshoot of the manosphere, described as a place to discuss, quote, sexual strategy for men. Interesting how they put in parenthesis sexual strategy for men. That is literally what we talk about here, yet they put it in quotes as if that's not really what it is. Depression comes up a lot on the site, often noted as an obstacle to these men's sexual conquests. Incel culture is haunted by insecurity and mental illness, low self-esteem, body dysmorphia, and depression. One post lists why he can't get laid because he is really ugly. Stop making pathetic little bitch excuses and start looking for solutions, is the reply. Acting out, using demeaning language, women are bitches and whores. Their bodies are objects for use. Their emotions and needs are manipulation tactics, pockmarked with the eruption of lethal Duracell by the most disturbed incels, elicited fear and little sympathy to date. But Dr. Margansky advocates a more nuanced approach. She says, quote, we need some survivor-centered strategies wherein we can listen to and learn from those who have been hurt and harmed. Secondly, we need offender accountability. How about that? Okay, all right. We need accountability for those who violate boundaries and expectations. Well, that's kind of what it sounds like they're doing here. We need accountability, but we also need to have hard conversations that challenge their ways of thinking that work towards some kind of restoration. Being punitive in and of itself isn't going to work. It just displaces the problem, and it does little to tackle the underlying motivation, Dr. Margansky says. Restorative practices are required, she believes. Rather than just prohibiting or abandoning people and kicking them out of their sites and displacing them, these sites can have individuals who are trained to be crisis intervention workers. We need to teach social media companies or platforms that host such communities facts about safe interventions, conflict de-escalation, crisis intervention, and more. To date, the opposite reaction informed the tech companies. Reddit, one of the main sites that host incel communities, have started cracking down on their channels, and now the main channel, the restricted Red Pill, has moved to tailor-made websites free from moderation, free from reach, free from help. The groups hold the well-documented potential to be very dangerous. It's easy to see that this toxic masculinity is disgusting. Donna Zuckerberg, the author of Not All Dead White Men, wow, that explores online misogynistic culture, told Insider she supports banning such content and creating barriers to access. She says, quote, I think it is good because it makes this content less discoverable. And I think that any attempts at moderation will fail. If you attempt, she continues to moderate them, they will find another less moderating place to go. That less moderated place, though, might be then less popular, less discoverable. But Margansky says that helps no one. It is easier, more palatable, to pretend that potentially homicidally, I've never even heard that word, misogynistic incel are not among us. So CGA, let me come to you first, man. What are what are your initial thoughts on this particular article that we just read? What are your thoughts as far as the language and the solutions and all that good stuff? Talk to me about what your initial thoughts are.
Well, I mean, I'm not one that supports any violent acts by anybody. So if they think that they're hearing that from my message or any one of the guys that are on this channel, I don't think we're supporting guys to do that. I would say people who reach those conclusions probably should seek out some help, because that's not going to be a solution. Although we need to probably discover why they're having these thoughts. And there's where I turn back and say, well, you're just trying to censor people into not expressing their true feelings about or beliefs about what's happening here without hearing them. You just want to put them in your own psychotherapy that you study and then arrest them or penalize them and then limit the free speech for people that are trying to figure out some sort of path, because there's no other place for men to go. Those men think that that's the only place to go, and just restricting it is going to be problematic. I think my whole problem with the entire thing is they threw in some buzzwords there that are linking people together that are not necessarily linked together.
Right.
They're using in Manosphere and RP Reddit. They kind of talked about that. And what that does to the common person, the ham and egger, the 9-to-5er, is that when they see that, then they start associating all of us together. And I've often warned of that. Even in RP, I said, no one's going to be able to distinguish me from anybody else.
Right.
So a lot of the infighting, sometimes people think, well, I'm better and I'm better and I'm that. I was like, look, if anything happens, we're all in it and no one's going to distinguish one from the other. So it's unfortunate that this young man feels this way. He has nowhere to reach out to, but we have to now think, why is he acting that way?
Right.
You know, maybe she wants to discover that, but why is he thinking that this is his only recourse? I'm not familiar too much for people that say, well, I'm too ugly and I'm going to penalize the women for it. I'm definitely not on that level at all. I don't even know what to say to a guy.
Well, check this out. Listen, to me, CGA, that's just laziness, right? I'm too ugly is the same thing, and I've said this for years. I'm too ugly is the same thing as a woman saying, well, guys only want perfect 10s, so I'm just going to eat whatever I want and get fat because guys aren't going to want me because I'm not perfect anyway. Listen, man, I'm not trying to be hard on these guys, but at the end of the day, to me, obviously, you know, we're not going to say that they've been that they're not responsible for what they've done. We know why this stuff is starting to happen, but let's not pretend that there isn't. Let's not pretend that they don't go and they make these decisions. I totally agree. Just like Abba and Preach talked about 2 or 3 months ago, women have magazines, they've got TV. Women can get dating advice from anywhere. Men can't get dating advice that works from anywhere but this community. And so when you do what this woman suggests, listen, let's just keep taking down websites, you know, that's going to multiply the problem, right?
Anytime they try to remove something, it only makes it worse, because then they don't get to the people that are below them, right? Yep, they only target the top people. Oh, these are the name people. Well, then they get the next wave and all they do is push them up. Yep. And the thing that you were talking about of the guy saying that he was too ugly, so he needs to carry out the violence. Let's look at it and say the other side is not getting that message at all.
Nope.
Everybody's telling us that all women are beautiful, no matter how black they are, white, how fat they are, how bad of an attitude, they're all marriageable. But then you have guys over here that people are really rough with their feelings. You know, guys have feelings too. I get it.
Of course.
People don't want guys that have feelings. But if they come in and say, people are automatically be able to trash 70% of the guys right off the bat and say, you guys have no chance. Don't do this. Y'all. Okay. Over time, that's going to take a toll on men that fit that characteristic. Now, I can't tell all guys to just settle down. It'll be okay. Well, there's going to be the lowest runga guys are going to feel a certain way about that. Now that needs to be worked out. But just saying we're just going to delete everybody that has an opinion opposite of us, it to me seems like they're going to just take a shot in the dark and associate anybody they want, whether it goes under incel, manosphere, red pill, dating coach, because they said sexual strategies. All right. That includes a whole bunch of other guys, right?
Yes, it does.
That aren't even in the incel. So they're just taking a blank stab at it. And it's only going to make the community stronger otherwise.
I agree. I'm going to go EO, BOA, and then Jap, because I know Jap is going to probably start some fires. And we're probably going to have to spend the remainder of the show putting those fires out. That said, EO, give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on the article, because what I'll tell you is this: I think that they lump us all into the same group. I think they do that on purpose. These people aren't stupid, okay? They're the biggest men-centric channels are the channels where men are successful, right? Men have success. Think of all of the top influencer in this community. You've got Rollo Tomasi, married. Even AMS said that at some point he's going to settle down. Steffes Cole just came out and said he's in a relationship, or more or less he was ousted from it. I'm in a long-term relationship. Alan Roger Curry is now married with a child. And so they're not pointing out the fact that, hey, we did it, like we succeeded, but they would have the world believe that we're just over here advocating violence against women who aren't giving us what we deserve, which is their bodies. What's your thought? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. To Greg's point, that doesn't fit the agenda, so they're not gonna highlight, the situations where men are prospering in relationships and marriages and things like that. So that doesn't fit the agenda. Recently, I opened up my platform to all men. I would say probably within the first couple of years, I was a little closed off to certain groups of men. Okay. But then as I gave that some thought, I said, "Hey, look, I'm here to help men. This is so that I have to open up my services to all men who want the help." Okay. If you don't want the help, then clearly you wouldn't like my message and things like that. But recently I said, hey, look, if you're red pill, black pill, incel, whatever tag you give yourself, I give myself no tag other than the MAN tag. But whatever tag you give yourself, if you happen to find me and you resonate with something I say, I'd be happy to give you my services and coach you. And so this is what I'm going to say about this young man in particular. If he had all that time to buy all that ammo and to plan this attack, he can get his ass in the gym. He can get in the gym and work out and get better looking. He used the cop out. Oh, I'm not good looking enough. To me, that was just lazy. If you got all that time to research how to kill 20,000 people in 15 minutes or whatever it was he was doing. Now there's layers to this topic,
of course,
but me, I'm always bringing it back to the man and his responsibility. Look, he was too young to give up this soon.
Right.
He was too young.
Right.
He hasn't even matured yet. I could see he don't even have a shadow on his face yet. Brother, if you would have given yourself maybe 5 years, you probably would have got beard, facial hair that would grown in. You would have matured a little bit, maybe a new haircut. Like we always say, get in the gym, and work out, right? Pound that iron, man. And so I look at it that he was just looking for a reason to rebel. And women do this and men do this.
Okay.
So, I will just say this. It begins and ends with the man. I've been saying that since I started this business. I have to put the responsibility on him. If you have that much time to get, and look, it costs a lot of money to buy that much ammo.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
So he could have bought all Donovan services. He could have hired Greg. He could have got on the BOA train. He could have hit up Minister Jap, and he could have hit up Champion Game, and we would have all gave him some information that could have potentially helped him. So I look at it this way. Hey, you didn't invest your time, your money wisely. You gave up too soon. Heck, how old was this young guy?
21. Okay,
when I was 21, man, I was still working on my look, on my personal development, building a foundation for myself. I was not set at 21. As a matter of fact, I'm set. I'm pretty set now at 41, 20 years later. So we always say this. Hey, once we as men hit our 40s and beyond, that's when life truly takes off. Okay. Yep. He gave up too soon. he made a bad decision, and now he's going to jail for life.
Yep.
So I tell men this: look, women aren't really nice out here either. Look, when they reject you because they're not attracted to you, they're not very nice about it. Okay. So I would encourage women, if you don't want to get shot up, okay, if you're not interested in a guy, let him down nicely. Look, even me, I let women down nicely. If I'm not interested, I'm not going to say, "Hey, bitch, you ain't my type. Get the fuck out of my face." I'm going to let her down nicely. Hey, it's it's not what I'm looking for.
Well, you're a better
I don't
man
see
than me.
compatibility.
Look, you're a better man than me. Because
Yeah. Well, that's part of having the game that I speak of, is that I'm always tailoring every situation for maximum benefit to me. Okay. So it wouldn't be in my best interest to discard her in a sour fashion. But I'll throw it to the other guys. I'm going to say this: men, there's resources out here.
Yeah.
Look, come to YouTube, check out Coach Greg Adams, check out Donovan Sharpe. Yeah. BOA is the shit. Minister Jab, myself. Give us an opportunity to mentor you. Look, a lot of fathers out here, they're pumping and dumping, or they're getting women pregnant. They have there was no plan in place to be there for the children. This is a layered situation. It's not just one thing. It's a trickle effect of many different instances that have built this situation. Women are to blame in some instances too, because like you said, they've been given preferential treatment. They feel like they deserve everything for nothing. Society allows that to some degree, or to a large degree. And so, men, in conclusion, I'll say this: if he had the time and the money to plan this scheme, he had the same amount of time to put his ass in the gym, get in great shape, hire a mentor, work on his look, and really just give himself more time to develop. He was too young to be making such a decision like that.
And I believe Elliot Rodger, I think he was 19, or he was a young guy too. Let me come to BOA next, and then we'll go to Jap. So what EO said is 100% spot on. I agree with everything he says. The only problem with that is that where are the mentors for young men? Right? Like, listen, we all know and understand that young men need mentors, but we are now starting to see the byproduct of the lack of male mentorship. We got dudes out here who think they're women. We got people who are confused. They don't know if they want to be a third baseman or a switch hitter, if you know what I mean. Now we got, again, Elliot Rodger, Sungwoo Cho at Virginia Tech, the guy at Ohio State, Alec Manassian. I mean, the list goes, what's the guy's name down in Florida? Nicholas Cruz. The list goes on and on. So what do you attribute this to? This young kid clearly went astray. What do you attribute it? What do you attribute this to?
I'm going to take a different spin on this, man, because I believe that as men in this society, we have allowed ourselves to be duped into overvaluing women.
Yes.
So when we present information, a lot of times, not specifically us on this panel, but us as just a group of content creators and men who deliver information to the masses, we overvalue the importance of having women. Like, we'll tell a man, get yourself together, do all of these things so you can be attractive to women. Right. Women are the absolute least important thing that a man can have in his life. I mean, absolutely. They are just an added benefit, something to do, something to play with, something to have if you really want it, but you really don't need it. Okay, you need to be in shape. You need to get money. You need to have your mind right. You need to have some type of spiritual foundation where you ain't around here just acting a fool doing whatever you want to do. Okay. But women, they are absolutely insignificant unless they bring some kind of value to your life, to the process of your progress, as I like to say. Absolutely. So I think when you put that type of pressure on young men to enjoy the fruits that men, the more mature men like the men on this panel enjoy, hey man, that's a lot of pressure to put on a young dude, because we know at that age, boy, you got to have some hell of a good luck, some hell of a good genes, and a whole lot of money in your family to even have a chance to have that type of connection and success with women. And I think that's part of the problem, man. It goes to the point where a man looks at himself and he looks at a woman and says, she has more value than me. I have to figure out how to sell myself to her. And if she's not buying, then that confirms my ideology that I'm worth much less less than her. It's hell to walk around, man, thinking that you have no value, man, and you're working your ass off trying to get somewhere. You don't have no money. You ain't got no crib. You ain't got no car. You ain't got none of the things that you think make a man. And then to top it off, you can't even get the woman. And you know, it's hard to say, okay, I gotta wait until I build all this stuff.
Right.
Then wait to get the woman, because they want the woman now, because
that's the problem.
It's constantly glorified that, man, boy, you get you one of these bad bras, boy, you got yourself something that's gonna blow your mind. And it's tough, man, because we're men in our 40s, and you got men even in their jabs in his 30s, and you got a kid that's 21, man. He probably don't even know how to take a fucking good bath yet, man.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? We gotta. And another thing is this. I don't know if any of you guys have ever, killed someone or even tried to kill someone. Man, it's a tough thing, man, to pull that trigger on somebody, man.
Right.
It's a tough thing. You got to be hella angry.
Right.
And in those situations, the person that's done something to you to deserve that.
Yes.
What kind of mental state are you in to just say, you know what? I'm just finna kill them all.
Yep.
Motherfucker need to be institutionalized, man. I think part of the problem is mental health among men is something that even now, we talk about it more now, but it's still so taboo because, as a man, you don't want to be called crazy. A woman can be batshit crazy and nobody's going to call her crazy.
Biles,
she's going to get all the
Naomi
support
Osaka.
she needs and,
Right.
and people are going to, they're going to coddle her and do all of these things, man. A man has to keep that stuff bottled up, man, until he just bursts like this guy was planning to do.
Here's the thing, man. The difference, and again, we're all over the age of 35. Never did I when I was 21, I was terrible with women, but I never thought that was the end of the world. You see, guys, we are old enough to have had the luxury of understanding, hey, you know what? If we get lucky when we're young, that's okay. Like, we knew that it took a while to get ourselves together, but now with social media and television, it shows the outliers. There are a lot of young tech billionaires. There are a lot of them, or at least they're in the limelight. That represents less than 1/10 of 1% of all 21-year-olds in the United States. There are not many rich young people, yet the average young man is comparing himself to Silicon Valley boy who's got, a Lamborghini and a McLaren. He's got girls all around. They start getting depressed. So I'll come to Jap with this one, man. Why do you think today's young men don't realize, and the phone lines are open, guys, 516-387-1987. Why do young men not realize, hey, you know what? This is a marathon, not a sprint. You don't have to come out the gate with 8 different bitches. If you fail early, it's okay. There's still time.
I think it's like, I think the biggest problem is that they're having their heartbreaks at a late age.
Ooh,
like
okay.
they never had their heart broken when they were young,
right.
And like high school, and that's
16, 17. Oh yeah,
you got to get your feet wet young, because what's happening is you got guys that get older and they finally, they're met with some type of heartbreak or whatever, and they don't know how to handle it, and now you got more access to do more damage and do more violent acts, because now you can get access to weapons and stuff like that, and and then a lot of this too, these guys are alone. And they don't have like guys, friends that really hang out with them. You know what I mean? Because we got to start talking to each other like brothers,
right.
And being comfortable with being vulnerable and not betraying each other.
Vulnerable with each other, not with women, but vulnerable with each other.
Yeah, because
right.
we got people out here that's scared to show that vulnerability because they believe that their brother might betray their confidence.
Right.
So I don't think he had any friends like that to have that type of free time. And if he was out being more social and being in social groups, by default, you're going to meet people. And some of these people, you could just, some of these women, you might be able to talk to them and grow a bond, as opposed to just being attraction off the top. Because we got to make it make sense. There's a lot of guys out here who aren't attractive but got a woman,
right?
So a lot of that's co-workers. A lot of that was study groups. A lot of that was religion. He needed something to occupy his time where people were, and he could meet more people. So just that idle time, like they say, that's the devil's playground.
Yeah. And
I think that he just went overboard, and being that older, and not really, being a virgin at that age, what I'm saying? Like, You
That's
know, those
tough,
are supposed to be your glory years. That's when, you
Let
know,
me read
women
one
are
of
in
these.
their
Check this
prime
out.
right then and there. So
Let me
I
read
think
one of
that if
these.
he'd had some heartbreak or had some more experiences as a younger man, he wouldn't be freaking out like this. And like EO said, he gave up too early.
Yep.
Mhm.
Somebody, a tricky Trini in the chat said he found the wrong part of the manosphere first. That was the first thing. The manosphere has, I mean, it's a lot more vast. Thank you. It's a lot more vast than it used to be. Most of this community, there's not content designed to help guys. It's really just kind of to feed the anger, because these MGTOW channels that are hardcore MGTOW, those guys have hundreds of thousands. Dude, turd flinging monkey. Like he's never shown his face. I think he had like 250,000 subscribers on YouTube at one point. I think he's gone to mgtow.tv. But there was one comment. Listen, so Kyle won with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. He says, I've thought about this subject for a long time. Lack of sex is the cause, not mental illness or toxic masculinity. These men are robbed of purpose. I will say this. I agree with that, and I will say this. There is no one has ever committed mass red rum who is good with women. The only serial red
Ted
rummer.
Bundy.
There it is, Ted Bundy. He was the only one who was good with women, but every other dude, well, I don't know. John Wayne Gacy wasn't good with women. He was good with, teenage boys. But but lately, the mall pew-pewers, the school pew-pewers, these guys are not. This isn't to say that women are everything or that women have this value, or have all of this value, but just like he said, they're robbed of their purpose. Face Facts, $5, says the mommy-raised nation is the spawn of womanism and single motherhood. The manosphere is the solution, not the problem. Agreed, 100%. The Big Fizz 21, welcome to Chat Privileges. Appreciate the support. Nate Dogg, with the $10 super chat, says, remember, gentlemen, the media's job is to attract eyeballs to their website/channel to appeal to their advertisers. I got a little bit of heartburn, so I'm drinking some coconut milk. One of their main advertisers happens to be pharmaceutical companies. All right, good point. George Matheson, welcome to chat. The Neologic $10 says, you gentlemen, along with others, have become the modern therapy for men. I never got this much clarity in therapy at any point in my life. You men are needed. Michael Matroke IV, $5 says, likes are free. Yes, guys, please get the likes up. Guys, the phone lines are open and alive.
Can I add something?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, CJ. What
You add something. One thing that I think is going to be downplayed in this time, the last 15 months, is this lockdown, the C-19, everybody just drop what they're doing and stop what they're doing until we recover. I think there's going to be a lot of people not being able to see direction. Especially with this kind of everything's resetting, this great reset, and we're going through a different way. These young guys are they've been told a fantasy. Basically, you're going to get your high school diploma, get your girlfriend, get your degree, and all of that. All of that's gone now. A lot of guys don't have direction after that. So I think this lockdown situation has got guys going crazy. I just leaves them time to watch too much of probably something that they shouldn't be doing. You got boys raised by single mothers. We haven't talked about. They didn't mention that one time.
No,
where's his
not
father?
once.
They didn't mention the fact that he might have been raised by a single mother. I'm sure that's going to come up. If that comes up, that gives us an avenue to say, well, there you go.
Right.
40 years of raising young boys definitely doesn't work, especially when you eliminate the father. I guarantee you that's a broken home. I guarantee you he comes from a broken home. And, the fact that social media is another one of these things. I'm sure he wasn't just on certain Mansfield channels. I'm sure he had an Instagram profile full of hoes. All right. Okay, and then he's watching young guys in Lamborghinis. He's watching that. And then he's looking at booty all day, and he wants him one of those booties. See, when we grew up, we didn't have booty 24/7 in our palm of our hand. We had to sneak under my daddy's mattress.
We had Playboy magazine, man.
Yeah, you had a magazine. And then by the time you were 21, you had to go to the sleazy gas station. That's you know what I'm saying, the sleazy adult store, and tip in there. You know what I'm saying, and then you pick up the Fat Boy magazine, and then you lost BOA.
Oh, okay, all right, he'll come back.
But real quick.
Yeah, go ahead,
quick
bro.
point after Greg. I didn't mean to cut you off. Here's another thing that I see a problem with younger guys, inexperienced with life, just in general, but also with women. You want women you don't qualify for. Okay. Now, why do I say qualify? Because there's a certain level of game that is required to manage a chick that's experienced.
Right.
Okay. If you got to have a certain level of game. So if you're new in the game, don't look at one of these quote. I always say there's no such thing as a dime in my book because she's a zero coming in, and then I'll start to elevate her number according to the value she gives me. But I'm very advanced. But what I'm saying is when you're new in the game, date in your lane. Find you another nerdy broad that's kind of nerdy like you and inexperienced like you, and get a hotel room and experiment with each other. There's incel women. There's women out there that don't have the personality. They're kind of an outcast too. They're in a way. There's kind of
they in the band in high school. You know.
Yeah. They're in the band. They're playing Dungeons. They're playing Dungeons and Dragons at the coffee shop. Yeah. You know, they're watching Harry Potter and shit. And so what you need to do is go find one of them girls that have been outcast a little bit too. Holler at her. She'll be happy to chill with you for a little bit and get you some experience. Know what it feels like to be served by a woman or kiss. Right. Learn how to kiss. You got to kiss a woman. You got to, talk to a woman. I mean, these things matter. So guys, don't think that little Instagram thoughts like that you're going to get them. You're not going to get them.
No.
So get a chill.
But EO, Jen, let me ask you something as he's doing this. What do you call it? Some of these girls, though, you just described. Some of these girls you described, he might not hear it. I'll wait till he comes back. Yeah,
I can hear you.
Some of those girls you describe are literally on Tinder getting smashed out by a Derek, Tyra. You know what I'm saying? So where they used to be able to go to one of these guys, they're on Tinder swiping the ab dude with the 9 inches, and she getting smashed out. See, back in our day, we used to be like, all right, let me aim to the acne face, the little nervous girl over there. We used to be able to pound her out, but now she reaching up. She got high expectations too. So these young boys are looking at it going, damn, we can't even get it.
But there's got to be a chick at the local grocery store, in the deli. There's gotta be a chick at the deli working, slicing salami, doing something that ain't nobody checking for, that you can go and holler at that bitch.
We didn't have this much access. Like we were really dealing with maybe like a citywide radius.
That's it.
Right.
You could change the filters on these different profiles and say, look, I want to get a chick from Nebraska, where you know what I'm saying, they're wholesome. You know what I'm saying? You could go do that type of stuff. Like, I think he needed to broaden his mind. And another thing I want to say is, like, we got to really start pushing this as content creators. And I know EO probably definitely, you know what I'm saying, push this on his audience, but self-improvement, and the more you improve on yourself, the byproduct is going to be women. You get money, women are going to be there. If you get your image in order, women are going to be there. The more successful that you become, you're going to meet more women, and more women are going to see that. It's going to be even easier. But some of these guys don't want to put the work in, because like if he put on probably like another 40 pounds of muscle, you know what I'm saying, his life would have been a little bit different.
I'm with you. Let me get through these.
Let me say one thing here.
Go ahead, because we got 10 callers online. Go ahead, you got it.
And one more thing is this, man. We as men who have access to better quality women, we got to stop knocking down them lower level women, man, giving them the option of having a man out of their league, man. Talk. If you're a man that's knocking down bad chicks, you got to have a cutoff point that you're not going to go below, bro. You know what I'm saying? Those women that we shouldn't be touching should be left to only deal with those guys that they should be dealing with. Once she deals with a guy like, once she gets a guy like EO, she gets a guy like Greg, Donovan, Chap, she gets a guy like Doc, she feels like that's her new ceiling now. Like, she ain't got to deal with those guys she's used to. So we have to do our part, man, because we know how tough it is when you're on that level. So we got to start respecting the game a little bit more. Not necessarily us on this panel, but the men overall who have access to a better quality of women, man.
Real talk. Stop smashing these ratchet hoes, man. Hey, y'all know who you are. Quit fucking these fat hoes. Well, hold on. Wait, hold up. Real talk. You know who you are. Quit fucking these fat hoes. You right there. You. All right.
He's speaking. He got people sweating right now on that
I'm
one.
trying to tell you, looking away from their phones. All right. The phone lines are lit up. I'm gonna read these. Okay, good. We got eight guys on the line. We're gonna go to Dalton in Nashville, John in Detroit. Then we've got Alvin in San Francisco, Geeky Anomaly, Dana in Indiana, Michael in Portland, Oregon, Taj in Vegas, and Drew in Oregon. If you guys could please be patient, try to be as brief as possible. Direct your question or comment to one or two of us so that we can get through these as quickly as possible. So let us go to Dalton in Nashville. Dalton, you're on live with the 7. Go ahead.
Yes. Hello. I would like to direct this to Donovan.
Okay.
So, I would like to say, over the years, they've taken the father out of the home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as a result, these young men are being taught how to defend themselves with firearms and stuff like that. So, they're not really being taught how to defend themselves properly.
Right.
I think if they were taught martial arts, how to be physically fit, all that good stuff,
Yeah.
they would be more comfortable and more confident. So that was my comment. Thank you.
Cool. Absolutely. Does anybody have any thoughts? And I agree. Well, he said he directed it at me. Yeah, he's right. We were growing up. When we grew up, we had Nintendo, but we were always outside. Dude, my mom had us in karate, baseball, football. We were always doing something. We didn't have the array of video games or the internet or booty right in the palm of our hand. So I think when you get, I don't know, you know what they say, good times make soft men make hard times make strong men, and the cycle goes around. Okay, let's go to John in Detroit. John in Detroit, you're on live with the 7. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing good.
Want to direct this to Coach Greg Adams.
Okay.
I just want to. It's more of a comment. I listen to the show a lot,
Okay.
but I just want to say, when you're talking about guys like this, it's just what they said. It's a give up society right now with the young people, because they never push anybody to really try hard to do anything. We see it in the Olympics where people are giving up left and right.
Yeah.
These women are giving up, but that's something that's a cultural thing that's starting to happen. Guys don't want to work hard. Guys don't want to get, the reason why they don't want to get into the trades and stuff like that, because they've never been taught to work hard, and that's part of being raised by single mothers.
Yep.
And this whole this soft culture where young men, I'm 44, where young men just don't want to work. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to do what they got to do. And just like BOA said, we shouldn't be pushing kids or young men to be great so that they can be with women, because they're going to end up on the other end of it with the heartbreak, because no matter how great you are, women are going to always try to find something better. Marriages don't last. Nothing like that lasts. So guys shouldn't be looking to be with them necessarily. Do what you got to do. Be with. I'm sure I'm older, so I can't say don't be with women, but like, be with women, but don't put too much energy and emphasis into them. The more you don't care, the more they'll come to you anyway. So it's just like, people got to find other purposes and everything else, but we've been tricked to believe that women are everything. So that's the problem.
CJ, what are your thoughts there? Because listen, he's right. The less you care, the more they care. But like BOA earlier said, we're placing too much value on the woman. EO says this a lot too. We're placing too much value on the women. Area code 410, you keep jumping in line, I'm going to block your fucking number. Stop it. Go ahead, G. You got it.
Yeah, he said a couple things that were great. I think young kids today, I mean, I have young kids, teenagers, and I've been coaching young people since I was young myself.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, man, this generation of kids are given just about everything without having to work for it. So it goes to the parenting where they have, literally I used to imagine having a video phone like the Jetsons. I was like, one of these days, we're going to have a phone, we can watch the game right there. And now we're here. You know what I'm saying? We're literally here, where we have a video phone and we can select shows where we can watch now.
This is the Jetsons. You're right.
The Jetsons had a video phone. I was like, one day we're going to have that. Well, if you think about it now, a kid has just about everything he needs, or he or she needs, to do whatever thing. They could create a whole damn universe in their bedroom. They got a computer. They got a damn phone. They can reach anything. They can reach across the world. So right now, I'm looking at the generation of kids right now. They don't have to work for anything.
Nope.
They're given just about everything. And with those tools that they have, they can do anything with it. So much so now that a kid won't even want anything for their birthday party. You know what I'm saying? But like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? They'd be like, they don't want nothing. So then it goes to the point where now you're asking them to work for something And now, like, look, you can't even get held back in school now.
What?
Yeah, you can't get held back. I mean, you can hold yourself
God.
back, but they have to graduate you. You can't get held back. So
serious?
there's really no threat on the back end for poor performance.
Do you remember? Listen, do you remember that was every kid's worst nightmare? Hey, wait a minute.
Last day of school.
Tommy in middle school, he got held back. Ooh, they don't even do that anymore. Oh
no,
God,
there's no more held back. So,
oh my God, dude.
There's really no threat on the back end. And then once they get out, they believe the entitlement is, again, his entitlement was off the chain. We talk about women being entitled, but that guy's entitlement was off the chain. You guys, and I said this in my show the other day, you guys literally think you're entitled to women.
Yes.
You think you're entitled to women. Like, who told you that?
Right.
I mean, listen, it makes sense. Okay, a man and a woman, plug and play. It makes sense. However, there have been men, and I said this on my show the other day, there have been men that lived and died and didn't get no stank on their finger.
That's right.
Not one piece of stank. Not one. They actually were given a shield and a hammer and a sword, and they said, go out there on the beach and defend that. And that's all they did. They lived and died, and that's all they got. There were people who were peasants and watched their aunts and their sisters and got taken by the prince up to the castle and dropped back off by a chariot. All right, he ain't never snipped no peace leave, and he knew he wasn't gonna get none. He knew his position. But now we have people, we have an equal class, an equal society where everybody thinks they have an equal access. Like, I'm supposed to get Ivanka Trump. I'm supposed to get the top. How? Dude, we have a structure here. We have a hierarchy. If I'm here, I'm probably not going to get here. So where can I get? And that's where guys can't figure that out. They don't know where they belong. And so they're just shooting at anything, and it's not working. Well, they're literally shooting at anything.
Hey, coach, man, we used to get paddled in high school, man. We used to go outside, put your hands on the locker, get swatted like a mother. They don't do that shit anymore.
No, the kids get in trouble now, and the parents come to the school and they yell at the teacher.
Listen, my brother, and we're going to go to Alvin in San Francisco next. My brother is an educator. He's now a principal. I think he's going to be a mayor, like, real talk. Hopefully they never find out who I am, because if they find out that we're brothers, he's done. But when he was a teacher, I remember, my worst nightmare was the parent-teacher conference, because if my grade slipped, guess what? I got an ass whooping when I got home, right? Mom comes to the school. Okay, what's Donovan doing? What's he not doing? You get the scolding, right? This is an elementary and middle school. Now, just like you said, it's the parents are yelling at the teachers now. They're not yelling at their kids anymore. No wonder they're so goddamn.
This one thing happened in our community here where this kid was excelling in school, and I'm not telling anybody to do this. Do not repeat this, but he went out to a park and he eliminated him. He deleted himself.
Why?
Okay, he was a high school kid, and he wrote a note and he said, "Too much pressure. It's too much pressure. You guys are pressuring us for college. You're pressuring us for good grades, and this and that. You pressure me to make the baseball team." And then, he deleted himself right there in the park. They found him, and the poor parents had to go, "Oh, we put too much pressure on these kids." So then they had a whole town hall about parents putting too much pressure for their kids to perform to go to good colleges. So now everybody's got to go, well, make C's and D's. Who cares? Dude. So I'm telling you, man, they got this thing. And let me tell you something. This is by design. All of this stuff is not a coincidence. These things are by design to give parents less control over their kids and give the world more control over the kids than the parents.
Alvin in San Francisco, you're on live with the 7. Go ahead.
What's up, gentlemen? Shout out to all of you guys. I want to thank you guys so much. I found the Red Pill about a month ago. Okay. I stumbled onto Dr. BOA's one of his videos. Shout out to you, bro. And I swear to God, y'all were in the back of my head. I think all these kids are into instant gratification. My dad worked his ass off, and he was making 6 figures in the 80s. I ain't never seen that man sit down. And when he was on his days off, he had me out working with him on the woodpile. We weren't talking about no females. We were talking about working and hustling always.
Good.
And that was what it was. My mom never disrespected him. He never disrespected my mom. And chasing females was never a thing. And I always knew that I had to work for what I got. And these kids now love it. They're being raised by these females, all these effeminate, actions, and all this like double tapping, liking, and getting all this extra from the internet instead of actually doing it in real life. And I think it really comes down to a bunch of boys being raised by their mothers. But That's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys. I appreciate
Absolutely. Listen, I like
Good
Alvin and
point.
San Francisco's. I liked his attitude. I liked that they talked about nothing but hustling. Let us go to Kevin in Las Vegas. I'm not going to call him Geeky Anomaly. I don't really want to call him that. Kev, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey,
Doing
I'm
good.
going to say two things real quick.
Okay.
Thank you, Donovan. I am both heartbroken and livid.
Okay.
Livid because I wish I could tell this young man, hey, it's not 300 BC anymore. You're not Genghis Khan. You're not Julius Caesar. You're not, one of these ancient conquerors. Going somewhere and pew-pewing a bunch of people and deleting a bunch of people is not going to make the women wet for you. It doesn't work that way anymore.
Right.
You're not a conqueror. And the part that I'm heartbroken about is the thing that saved me from where I was before May of 2020. I suspect it could have been the same thing that saved him, and that's one little JPEG, one single image. Rollo's image of the sexual market value graph.
Oh yeah.
I firmly believe in the core of my soul that if this young man had been presented with that and then the data that backed it up, this probably would not have happened.
Do you think a guy like him, if he sees that, do you think he might understand the truth? So you saw the graph, that it all makes sense to you, or were you sent down the rabbit hole?
You're asking me personally?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When I saw the graph, it was like a big bang in my brain, and everything just kind of slid into place, and I'm like, that's why older men date younger women. That's why this, that's why that. And it was just a cascade effect that made everything make sense and gave my life purpose.
Okay, good stuff. See, there it is. That's the common denominator that a lot of people talk about, is it gave him purpose. Anything you want to add, Kev, before you go?
No, that's everything. My heart goes out to this poor young man, because although he's, is messed up in the head, it's probably reasonable to say that 50% of what's messed up in his head was caused by probably a female counselor, a single mother, and society as a whole.
One last question. Nate Dogg wants to know, Kevin in sales, is that you?
I have been in sales, and I appreciate the compliment, but no, I'm not in sales.
You let us down, giving us the fantasy. Thank you very much.
Has he been tried and convicted already?
Not yet, but he will be. Let me ask you this, Jeff. I was actually going to come to you with this. So the graph that Kevin was talking about, this is the sexual market value graph. I actually just had it up here.
Yeah.
Right, the sexual market value graph. Basically, what it says is that at 30 years old, our sexual market value starts to skyrocket, and theirs starts to plummet. Right, from 18 to 30. Give or take a couple of years in either direction, the world is a woman's oyster. What do you feel? Because we got a lot of street dudes that are having problems with that too. And listen, you're out here in the streets. Do you think street niggas would actually give something like this credence, or would they say, I'm not into the graphs? Or do you think they secretly know?
Well, yeah, I think they do, because I see a lot of older guys with younger women. And I'm seeing a lot of older women just on the decline, taking whatever they can get at this point. Once they hit their peak, about 25 or so, then they start falling apart. And I see that, older guys right now are really having their way with the game. They really, like, a lot of this stuff is just easy to them. Sure. They live a lifestyle to where they can move around. Generally, in most cases, men tend to do better with their finances than your average woman. She overspends, and puts herself in a lot of, because we're always on the fixing end whenever they come to us. They're always in a bad position in most cases. So a lot of older guys kind of use that as their leverage, and it's tending to work out for a lot of. I don't see no older guys getting young women no old women like that. No, they want a younger woman, and they can get them.
Okay, let's go to Dana in Indiana. You're on Live with the 7. Go ahead.
Hello, shout out to the panel, and thank you for having me on.
Yep.
Special shout out to you, Donovan Sharpe, as I am Hemlar from Sharpe Stream, and I also have been watching you from YouTube. For Coach Greg Adams, I'm pretty sure that it was you that specifically said this. I do agree with you about what you said in regards to how young men and
Dana. Okay, he said young men. All right, call back, Dana. Call back. Let's go to Michael in Portland. Michael, you've got a comment on CGA's new videos. Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually have a question for you as well. Are you guys able to hear me okay? It's my first time calling in.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Coach Greg Adams, I just want to say keep up the good work. I stumbled upon you on your short-form videos, so I'm not sure if that's, a new strategy or not, but that's the way I found you, and I really appreciate the content. Donovan, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
One of the biggest things of value that you provided me is the example that you have with your lady. I hope I'm not being disrespectful anyway by saying that it appears that she's kind of like a helpmate in your business. And, I'm 26 years old. I own an insurance practice, invest in real estate, and my most long-term relationships have been, women that I've partnered up with in one way or another. But when it comes to your situation, how do you find your ideal helpmate? Are you looking for a woman that has certain behavioral characteristics and you feel that you can train her up within your business, or are you looking for someone that has those skills already?
It's interesting. When I met Dev, I wasn't looking for a long-term relationship. I saw a woman with ample bosom, and a great ass, and decided, you know what, I'd love to add her to my rotation. I will say this: when her and I, actually got together and made the thing official, her skill set did make her an attractive prospect. I'm not going to say that, okay, hey, you know what? Let me get together with this woman because she could possibly help me. I didn't even know I didn't even know that this was what this was going to be when I first got with her, right? I did this as kind of a hobby. I never thought that this would ever be, a sustainable career, or anything close to that, to be honest with you. But when I did finally start to take this thing seriously, and when I really, really started to sort of come into my own as far as content, that's when I really took a serious look at her and said, okay, I really do believe this woman can probably help me out. And again, I want you to understand that you have to recognize talent when you see it. That being said, I didn't seek out a helpmate. Now, here's the thing. In hindsight, maybe I should have, right? Because let's say Dev didn't have the skill set that she had. Maybe we'd be together, maybe we wouldn't. But if we were together and she didn't have the skill set, then we wouldn't be where we are now. I would have gotten to this point with or without her, but having her help me out has certainly sped up the process. So I guess what I'm trying to say is when I dated Devin, I didn't really date with purpose. I was just trying to fuck her. And the longer I knew her, the more I got to know her and like her as a person and understand who and what she is as a person. I know that she's reliable as far as this internet stuff. That's when I decided. So if you're going to look for a woman, man, you got to make sure, we say this all the time, you got to make sure that she brings a tangible benefit to your life. And that's outside. Listen, when women say, well, I can cook and I can clean and I'll be faithful, no shit. That's like going to a car lot and
those are prerequisites.
Right, exactly. Right. That's something like going to a car lot and say, well, this comes with, 4 wheels, a steering wheel, and a trunk. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to come with. So when you're vetting women, you really need to find women who have marketable, profitable skills. And I think maybe subconsciously I was thinking, maybe I didn't know that I knew, but it was not an accident that we ended up together. I said, okay, she's got some skills. Maybe I could put her to good use later on.
Hey D, you mind if I tell this guy one quick thing to your point?
Sure.
Caller, here's the other thing. Don't let the woman tell you she's valuable.
Yes.
You have to determine she's valuable. So you also have to give her the specific instructions and itinerary that suits your lifestyle and needs. Don't let her think that she's just coming in and she's valuable. Women will think that automatically because they're delusional and entitled. So they're just going to walk in thinking that they're valuable. No, you determine their value. So that's very important.
Okay, well said.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for the call, Michael in Portland. Let's go to Taj in Las Vegas. Taj, you have a comment on the incel problem. Go ahead.
Yes. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes.
All right. So, in my opinion, the way to first combat this problem is we first have to combat the entitled mindset. Because what I've noticed with a lot of these incels, they feel entitled and they think, "Oh, I act this way, I should get this."
Right.
But the world isn't like that. You know, it doesn't matter how hard you work, how good you look, how good of a person you are. Nothing is promised or going to be given to you. You have to work for it. You know, this entitlement mindset leads to a lot of bad problems, and it leads a lot of these people to these dark streets. Now, me personally, I almost became an incel because I was having that thing like, "Oh, I'm this type of person. I should be having this." But then, luckily, I was able to stop myself by I was like, "Hold on, why am I getting upset or feeling some type of way about the women choosing? You know, it's not them. If I'm not having success, it's something with me. I need to make myself presentable in a way to where I can get that. And even if I do, they still don't have to give me it." And knowing that and learning that, it's made it a lot easier to deal with not getting what I want. So a lot of people have a hard time accepting not getting what they want. And that's something we need to teach like our kids. Like, it doesn't matter what you do or how good you are. You're not entitled to anything.
Okay, very good. I'm trying to keep my laptop from Dev, if you would, bring up my power block for my laptop because it looks like my laptop is about to die. And if it dies, everything is going to shit. Okay, thanks for the call, Taj in Vegas. Let us go to, let's see. Let's go to Drew in Oregon. Wait a minute. Actually, hold on. Sorry about that. Hang on. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's go to Drew in Oregon. Drew in Oregon. You're on live with the 7.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Man, you know, I think I can kind of pitch in a little bit to the guys that's going to be watching this. And, you know, I got a couple things I want to say. So I'm like 25 years old. So I've done the self-improving thing a lot. And, you know, the problem with a lot of these guys that are like incels, trying to keep to the topic on hand, they're really, really entitled. See, the thing about it is, it's easy to blame women, right? It's always like, oh, F them, F this. They're delusional. Like, at this point, 2021, we know these chicks are delusional. We know they're crazy. Right. We know all that stuff, right? But at the same time, too, you got to look inside and be like, okay, what the hell am I doing wrong that's not allowing me to get the outcomes that I want to get, right? It's like a whole bunch of things that's going on nowadays in society that's, like, causing this kind of a problem. And then you have the internet that these guys can kind of go into, and then they can go into like this big ass black hole that they just keep going down in. And then everybody's like, hate women, don't do this.
Right. Damn, Blog Talk is kicking people. Blog Talk is kicking people off. BOA, give me your thoughts on what he was saying, because I felt like that was right up your alley, man. Men feeling entitled to women.
You know, man, I just feel like, you know, if in this world, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a perfect example. I grew up with a cat. Okay. Ironically, his last name was Jordan. Andre Jordan. Man, the best basketball player I ever saw in my life. I saw this guy run 5 straight full court games and not miss a shot. I mean, shooting shots over his head, falling on the ground. He was and one before this shit ever came up, man. He was the best ball player ever. Got jammed up with the wrong guys, ended up doing time because they fucking killed the guy over his jacket.
What?
Out of high school.
Oh, God.
Ended up doing 21 years behind that.
Damn.
Dreams gone. So life, the only thing you can control is your effort and your energy. That's all you can control. Once you step outside of your door, the world has its own way of dealing with everyone, including you. So whatever, you can't even focus on the outcome. I tell guys all the time, focus on the process of progress. Every little inch you make is something you should focus on, because that represents the results of the grind. The end result is just what you're going to get. You may have the most beautiful woman in the world. You may not. You may have a woman who's not the most beautiful woman in the world, but she's the most efficient and effective woman in the world in your life. I think men have to open their minds and broaden their horizons to what's considered a successful result, because that shit can be a whole bunch of things, man. And it's not just, hey, what that guy has, I want that. Well, what if there's only one of those? That guy's already got it. I think men have to focus on their own lives and understand that we're all individuals. And what level of success? Imagine if we thought like that. We'd be pissed off at Kevin's success.
Right.
All of us would. We'd be like, the hell with Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we're running our own race. And in our race, we look at where we started and we're like, oh shit, whoever thought I'd get this far?
Right.
These guys want to, they want to live the lives of other men. Now, granted, like Jap was saying earlier, I think Jap was saying this earlier, I think EO touched on it as well. These guys are seeing things that we didn't see.
Yeah,
like we didn't see everything NBA players did, man. We saw them boys on Sunday, and that was it.
Yeah, that was
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We didn't see their lives, and we didn't get an opportunity to have these guys' success thrust into our faces all the time. And that changes your perspective on what you want in life. Even though you know you're never gonna be in that position because you don't have that skill set. Guys start living in that fantasy world that women live in. And that fantasy world, hey man, that thing, that's a bitch right there, boy. It'll have you pursuing things, man, that don't even exist in the real world. And you're angry that you didn't get that fantasy end result. Man, you got to be real with yourself. Who are you? What do you want? Strive to get that. That's it.
Yeah, BOA, it's like, it's perception too. Like, you got to use, when you're looking at that stuff on the internet, you got to use that either as motivation.
Yes.
You know, or don't look at it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Let me ask you, Jap. No, this is good. When I see stuff like that, like Mike Rashid, dude, when I watch Mike Rashid or Larry Wheels, I don't hate on those guys. That motivates me to get in there and maybe squat another couple of sets. Dude, Fresh Prince CEO just bought a fucking McLaren. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate on. I'm like, dude, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Why is it that today's I don't know, maybe this is something that's more in the forefront, because we knew we had hating ass niggas back when we were kids. But what kind of a man hates on another man rather than getting inspired by his success? They hate it. I've never understood that.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, use what you see as motivation,
right,
but not a distraction. Because I think that a lot of these people are just getting real easily distracted from running their own race. You know,
yep.
You could, you know, like, I'm not going to look at like an NBA player all day, every day, because some of that shit I might not ever see. You know what I'm saying? Some of it is, you know, Bentleys and Rolls Royces. I mean, that'll be great, but you know, I might just be in the Audi category, and I might have to just deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's not bad either.
And that ain't bad either. But I think, like, kind of what like EO was saying, like, they're seeing things that's like out of their league. And they're holding themselves to that type of standard because it's getting all the free attention that they want. And they literally harming each other, harming themselves, you know what I'm saying, just to try to achieve what another man and live through another man's life. So you got to, you know, be motivated and not distracted. Stop trying to live somebody else's life.
Before I get to the super chats, EO, I think you said you had something on something a little earlier.
You know what? The only thing I'll say is I said this on one of my broadcasts recently. I said there's thousands of individual games going on inside the one game called life. Okay. Everybody's running a certain kind of game. You got to find out what game you're going to prosper the best at and then master that game. So if it's the Audi game with your $110,000 business, then master the shit out of that game right there. Okay. Right. You know, if there's a guy out there on jets and he's, you know, $50 million, you know, whatever, that's his game. Let him run his game. Don't even worry about him. That's his game. There's the, you know, the religious game. There's all kinds of games going on right now inside of this one game called life. You cannot be jealous of another man's game. You have to find out where you're gonna settle at this particular game, how you're gonna plan, execute, repetition, and secure that game. I noticed this. When men are working towards something, they tend to be more choosy.
That's right.
Okay, and have standards.
Yep.
But if you're a lazy dude and you're not working toward anything, that's why you go with these bust down bras, because there's nothing to secure. You're looking for happiness with this loser because you're a loser. I say that with love and respect, I got to tell you. So if you're talking to men that are working and building an empire, you think we're going to waste our time with a liability like that? So just remember, the more that you work, the higher your standard should be.
Okay. Let me quickly get through these super chats, and then we'll take another couple of phone calls, and then we'll bring this thing to a close. John Holmes says, y'all are missing it. The stats speak to the idea of mind control. I'm just going to leave that there. Thanks for the $5. Michael Matroke, the fourth, for $5 says, winter is coming. Thank you to Fear to No One with the $5 super chat. Jason Bravo, $10 says, I can't imagine where my life would be if I never came across this content. If anything, it made me less angry towards women because I started to understand female nature and hypergamy. A man cannot truly love a woman until he understands them. Men who hate women are simply men who don't understand them. George Matheson says, it's not even just a show or a problem, it's a cycle. Today's men look for safe spaces in the same women who broadcast their problems into the net. Wow. Drew and Pringle said, I got cut off, guys, calling in again. Okay, I'll see if I can find you in there. Hemlar Clavis says, I got disconnected early. I'm at work, though, so I have a small window to call right now. Wow, you guys really want to get on. Ernest Kwame, $20, says, Solo TV 84 and Minister Jap were my doorway into the manosphere. He says, Jap was saying, don't date single moms, and the rabbit hole got deeper. I had questions answered, and all that.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All that big shout out to the Manosphere. So I guess nobody is getting on. We run our mouths too damn much. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Man, we had quite a few calls on there, but that's okay. So this is the last episode of season 4 of the 7. We're probably going to pick it up. We're probably going to pick it back up sometime in the winter. Fear not. Coach EO and I will be continuing our elite level game show. It's going to be just like what you guys are seeing now, call-ins and all. So we'll be taking all of your calls. We'll get all that stuff squared away. Let me get everyone's final thoughts on the topic. Let me start with CGA. What are your final thoughts on incel sort of lashing out violently like this?
Well, I mean, it's twofold. I think, you know, they have solutions out there. Men are trying to give them solutions and understanding. There's great men that came before all of us and put out books and literature. They can choose to get that from us because we're the only source where you can get this sort of help to tell you about sexual marketplace value, and the 30s are your peak, and they're the women that you're looking at right now, they're gonna be dinosaurs in 5 years or 10 years. So they can get this information, but they can also go down the wrong rabbit hole, right, and end up blaming society. But I hope this is what I get, man. I'm going to just say this. I do shows every day, so I'm always having to come up with topics and conversations. Maybe some of the conversations do sound like, oh, well, you know, these bras ain't nothing and F them. But I'm trying to get you guys to understand women after 40 years of learning them and investing in them and seeing no return and mostly loss of income. All right. Mostly loss of income, that there's other things that I've discovered, like the free agent lifestyle. That is the bigger definition. That's other things that I discovered brought me way more happiness. And it was outside of the vagina. It was outside of the context of the vagina. Now, what happened was when I started doing that, vagina started coming in and going, what you doing?
That?
You see what I'm saying? Vagina started being interested in what I was doing outside of that. And men, I know EO keeps saying it, work. There's guys that are adverse to work. They don't want to get no damn work done. They just want a peace leave handed on the platter, women handed on the platter, nice, fine. And that's just not the reality of the situation. And then we also got to deal with the other side, single motherism, womanism, and a lot of these other issues that are contributing to this as well. So hopefully, this guy's a 1-off or a 2-off or a 4-off every 4 years, right? Whoever, in 10 years, we can name 4 guys. I don't think my audience has these things. And I just want to say to my audience, that's not the package that I'm presenting you. I'm not trying to get you to lash out against women. I want you to understand them, put them in the proper context, and then grow from there. And BOA said this, women come as they come in from what you've done. And once you realize that, you can put their value in the proper perspective. Most people can't do that yet. And hopefully, young guys, you're getting this from us. That's all I can say.
Okay, well said. EO, your final thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I want to first thank you for letting me be on the show this season. It was nice to pair up with BOA. He's been my guy for a long time. Greg, and nice to get acquainted with Minister Jeff and yourself. I'll say this, guys, don't give up, man. You're too young. Yes. Like, this guy was entirely too young. It is a shame that Kevin that called in earlier, I could sense how disappointed he was. And I could hear that he cared about this. Yeah, man. You're too young, guys. Now, here I want to tell other content creators that maybe in other communities that say things like "it's over for you," just rope. I've heard guys say things like that, and please stop telling young men this. Yes. Please stop telling them that. Encourage them. Provide a solution. Look, I talk about the issues, okay, but I always give a why and a way to solve it. Every single time. Every time, if anybody watches me, I'm going to tell you about women, okay? I don't have any problem with women because I know myself, and I'm too busy learning me, and then I know how to deal with women, and that's really the secret is learn more about you as a man. Navigating with women is going to be a lot easier, but I will tell you this, guy, any content creator out there, don't just bash men. Don't bash red pill, black pill, any community. Those men are here looking for answers. They're looking for self-identification. And even I had to come to terms with that and said, look, man, I know I got this champion game mindset, but there's men out here that are not even close to thinking like me. Right. So what I need to do is open the door to them and allow them in to at least hear these things. Okay. It may not make sense right now. It may seem insurmountable right now, but maybe in 24 months, they'd be like, oh shit, now I get it. I see what he said. So I'll tell guys this that are here in the manosphere that are content creators and have businesses. Don't tell these young men it's over. Don't tell them to go rope. Don't tell them that. If you're gonna present a problem, you better be presenting a solution too. That's right. That's what I'll say. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Well said. BOA.
Yeah, I saw you just froze up for a minute.
Hey, good.
So, what I want to say is this, man. When you think about the free agent lifestyle, when you think about champion level life, when you think about the high altitude existence,
right?
All of these are the same concepts.
Yeah, right.
Build yourself into the best version of yourself.
Right.
If you do that, I promise you the results that you get are gonna be to your satisfaction. It's gonna be the best that you can get.
Okay.
And let me tell y'all something, man. I grew up, man, with rats and roaches in my crib, man.
Damn.
I come from poverty, homie. I'm talking about the gutter. Had to pour my cereal in a big bowl to make sure roaches wasn't in it, and unfortunately, roaches was in them. And so nobody can tell me that you're in a terrible spot that you can't come up out of, man. Most of you guys have it gravy out here, man. So you have no reason to say you can't make it anywhere. And like EO said, these guys that are telling these young guys it's over for you, man. I heard CGA say this once: $10,000, $10,000. If life changing money for a young broke man.
That's right.
Life-changing money.
That's right.
And it's a whole lot of money to get if you grind. Man, that's your life is just beginning at 20, 21, 22, 23. Man, listen. Focus on building yourself into the best version of yourself. I don't even talk about becoming an alpha male.
Right.
I mean, of course, I've been pigeonholed into that. I talk about becoming the most alpha version of yourself.
Okay.
Apply those principles to your life, man, and build yourself. If you're from the suburbs, your most alpha version is going to be different from a guy that's from the projects.
Huh. Okay.
That's just how it's going to be. But become the best version of yourself, man. Block out all the noise and only pick up things in your life that aid you in the process of progress in becoming that. Everything else, shut it out. Family, friends, whoever. That woman that you can't leave alone, leave her ass alone, man, if she ain't contributing into your life. Everyone works for you in the business of your life. That's the first business you'll ever have, the business of life.
Okay, well said,
Love
man.
it.
Jap, your final thoughts on today's topic, man.
I want to talk to the guys, man, on a serious note. Don't let women shame you for wanting to get this information, because this is basically therapy on demand for a lot of men.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to get help, because when you overthinking it, or you're alone, sanity is a motherfucker. You know what I mean? And sometimes people snap. And if you have a feeling like that, you might need to reach out to one of these brothers, do a consultation or something like that, or read more information about interacting with women and things of that nature, because it shouldn't be that extreme.
Sure.
But again, with this internet, you got access to on-demand therapy, and every one of us has a different style. So
right.
I speak to more of the street people. Coach, he can speak more to the married, divorced men, and men are going through it. So I just don't want y'all to feel like ashamed that you actually look to us for that type of therapy, and y'all find our shows therapeutic and continue to watch it. But make sure that if you ever feeling like that type of person where you want to harm yourself or others, go get help, because I personally don't think he really wanted to do that. Now that I think about it, I think he wanted to get caught, and he really wanted the attention and somebody to help him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if he was going to really do it, it got done.
Right. Right.
He ran his mouth and got himself purposely intercepted so he can vent.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I believe that.
Hey, one more thing, Donovan.
Yeah,
Shout out
what's
to my
coming?
boy EO, man. People ask me all the time, is he white? I say, nah, he just light skinned. He grew up in like Alaska, where it's cold all the time. But that's a cool brother right there. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the homie EO, man. Hey, man. Hey, I'm proud of you, brother, seeing your growth over there, man. You've been grinding it out.
Hell yeah, man.
Donovan, I appreciate you, man, having me on this season, man. Absolutely. It's I watched that very first season, man, and I knew this was whenever we get together like this, man, it shows a unity that combats all of the other shit that goes on with all the backbiting and all that, man. So this is always a good thing. Jap, keep cooking them over there, brother. CGA, I'm gonna catch you, man. I'm gonna get consistent with these double shows, man. CGA, the hardest working man in the industry, man. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
Every time I turn on YouTube, he's on. I guess what I'll say to guys is when guys never reach out for help. They never search anything unless they're having trouble with it, right? If a guy's getting laid on the regular, he's not going to Google, how do I get laid? If a guy has no problems getting dates, how do I get a date? No. Guys find our content because of heartbreak, sexual frustration, and most of the time it is both. I totally agree with EO, man. We got to get a hold of these young guys. Like Jap said, we got to get them in high school, man. We got to let these guys know and understand this takes time. You can't have Donovan, Sharpe, EO, CGA, BOA, Jap level game if you're 21 years old. It just doesn't happen that way. And we know that's not possible because the father has it's been legislated out of the home. My keynote speech at the CME was this in a nutshell. I made every mistake you could possibly make with women and without women. Dude, I committed to the wrong women. I got married and divorced. I rented a house for a woman who was fucking her ex-con baby daddy. Dude, countless run-ins with the law, and I'm still here, right? Despite all those failures, and guys, I have been in some really, really fucked up situations, man. And then, of course, I've got this temper problem. Of course, my mom fucking us over when we were younger, single mother, unpresent father, and all that. I had every conceivable. I had a lot of disadvantages, and I had a lot of advantages too, being raised on military bases. But I made all the mistakes, and I was still able to build what I have now. I am a living proof that not only can you survive, you can actually thrive in the world. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not going to be easy. You have to understand, just like all these guys say, it takes work. You got to fall down. You got to skin your knee. You have to, learn these lessons, apply what you've learned, and press on. But at the end of the day, don't let anybody tell you that it's over. This kid, just like you said, man, this kid was 21 years old. He hadn't even lived yet. And now he's going to spend the rest of his life in a high security federal penitentiary because he simply needed to talk to someone. I think it's a shame. So I guess with all that said, let me read these last super chats and then we'll go ahead and send off on season 4 here. Shout out to King Life with the $10 super chat. Says great season. Uncle Guns says true honor, grit, merit, metal, watertight integrity, and respect. Hope next season has the same rock solid panel. Be good, and get gone. Salute. Appreciate that. Mr. Real Estate, $5 says, I appreciate the professionalism you all portray. Keep up the good work. No struggle streamers over here. Yeah, that's funny. That's something O'Shea said. Struggle streamers. With that, that is going to bring the 4th season of The 7 to a close. Usually when we do the last couple episodes of these panels, it's usually like a skeleton panel. Listen, man, this show has spawned off some unbelievable channels. Kevin Samuels, who is in the stratosphere. I mean, he goes without saying. Myron Gaines and the Fresh and Fit podcast. They'll be close to 1 million before the year is over. This is what happens when men collaborate with one another, guys. We are going to have yet another graduate, and I said it on the panel. I said Myron Gaines is going to be the next alumni of the 7, and there he went. He wasn't able to be on today because they got way behind. They're working 20-hour days and all that other kind of crazy stuff. But I think it goes without saying that this was definitely one of our best seasons. My thanks to all of you gentlemen. Coach Greg Adams, of course, Myron Gaines, Everett Overton, Hotep Jesus, the Book of Alpharonomy, and Minister Chap. Thank you very, very much for this season of The 7. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll probably be back around maybe the middle of fall. We're going to take a little bit of a break from this. Thank you guys all for watching and supporting, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.